I have traveled all the way to Honolulu, Hawaii. And since we are here in Hawaii, what I want to be doing on this trip is not only taking you guys on my adventures, but I also want to be looking for some really neat reptiles in the area. So let's go on some adventures. My name is Nick Pulaski. Growing up, I have always had a passion for wildlife, and with that passion, along with my passion of filmmaking, I get taken on some amazing adventures creating wildlife content, getting up close with a variety of incredible animals. So come follow along as I pursue my goals of educating, inspiring, exploring, and conserving wildlife, all while having fun, seeing the beauty in our natural world. Hello, or should I say aloha to you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me here today. It means the world to me. We are currently high up in the mountains of Manoa, which is in the Honolulu, Hawaii area, and it is incredible up here. The climate is beautiful. It was just raining a little bit up here, but that currently stopped, so we are just going to be out here looking for reptiles. And what I really want to do with this trip is not only highlight some really cool things on the island, but I also really want to highlight some really cool species of reptiles that are also on this island. So a really interesting fact actually is there's no land-dwelling reptile species native to the islands. The only reptiles that are actually native to the island are actually the sea turtle species as well as the yellow-belly sea snake. So all other reptile species were actually introduced throughout the years. So we're going to be checking out some of those species as well as hopefully some native species as well too. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to check out the island, highlight some really cool adventures, as well as we're going to see what reptiles we can find. What do you say? Let's go. Okay, so we just got on the island and it has not even been an hour yet and we already caught a day gecko, and I, like an idiot, I literally just let him go, and I have footage of me letting him go, and I have a whole bunch of pictures, and like an idiot again, I didn't take any video footage, or I took a very small amount of video footage, so I'm going to show as much as I can. And as we go on and we keep exploring around and seeing things, I'm going to definitely see if I can find more footage to show you guys, and if I do, I'm going to show it right here as well. But man, it's been incredible just seeing that. I mean, getting here, it's super exciting to be in a new location. I've never been to Hawaii before, and I mean, it is literally a tropical paradise. The only thing I could probably compare it to, and I've never been there either, is Costa Rica. And we're up in Manoa Valley, and the mountain ranges here are incredible. It's just so cool, such a cool escape. I mean, you see the clouds just kind of hanging out and dwelling on top of the mountains. It's just really cool, and the climate is really, really warm here, and the humidity is really, really high up here. So the reptiles love it, the geckos love it, and the dart frogs that we may potentially see also love it as well. For day geckos out here, there are 3 different species. So there is the gold-dusted, the orange-spotted day geckos, as well as the giant day geckos. Those are the 3 species, and like I said, the gold-dust ones are going to be the most common that you're going to find. You're going to be noticing that it's going to be raining off and on throughout this footage right now. It's just a light rain, but that is what brings out all these different reptiles, and that's why they love it up here in the Manoa Valley. Now, these guys do have a native range from Madagascar to the eastern islands off of the continent of Africa. So these guys are known for tropical climates, and they thrive out here. So when the day geckos were first introduced to the island, there was only 8 specimens, and they were released in the upper Manoa Valley. Then from there, the other 2 subspecies of day gecko came along as well too, and were introduced to the island. Now, for the gold dust day geckos as well as the orange spotted day geckos, there's been research done that shows that they have done no negative effects to the environment. So there's been no negative effects to the native environment of Hawaii. In fact, they actually eat, for the most part, non-native insects, as well as they love the nectar from ripe fruit that grows on these trees. So that's a really cool thing. The only species, the giant day gecko, is the only one that has a negative effect for the most part, where it actually competes mainly with birds and other different species as well too, but mainly birds has been the research, because being the giant day gecko, they actually require a little bit more. And giant day geckos can actually reach up to 10 inches in length. Now the golds, they also can get big, they can get 5 to 7 inches, and the orange spotteds are going to be the smallest, between 3 and 5 inches of length. Now even when I was handling one of these guys, I was super careful, and even just grabbing these guys, because one, they're really quick, but normally the smaller ones are going to be the faster ones, and that's going to be more so your orange spotted ones. But even just juveniles and babies in general, they run super quick, so it's super hard to get a hold of these. Lucky for me, I grabbed one that was about a mid-size to an adult-sized day gecko, and they still run fast. They're quite elusive, but this guy I was able to catch, luckily. The geckos, when I was handling these guys, I was super careful in handling them, because they have really fragile skin that can actually tear away if you're handling them roughly, as well as I wasn't grabbing at the tail, because they can actually drop their tails as well. Now they can regrow their tails, but I was being really delicate with these guys. It was just a really cool thing to see these guys, and not even being here an hour and seeing one, I mean, come on, this is going to be a great trip, I can already tell. So yeah, right off the bat, it was super cool to find a day gecko out here. Let's go on some other adventures throughout the island. I can't actually grab this guy because these guys are actually super, super quick. So actually what I found right here, I'm gonna get some B-roll footage for you guys to check out, is I actually found a brown anole. Now these guys are super, super quick and super, super tiny. So these lizards actually come from the native region of Cuba as well as the Bahama regions, but these guys actually came over and were introduced to the islands as probably likely stowaways. So these guys can be found everywhere. They have quite the range in Hawaii, along with the green anoles as well too. In terms of look, they look very similar besides the color on them. So we have brown and then we also have the green anoles. So a big difference between the green and the brown anole actually is the green anole is actually found more arboreal. It's more found in the trees and the leaves, and you can find them basking mainly on like bigger leaves and everything like that, and they blend in perfectly. It's super hard. I mean, I'm sure we're passing some right now. I mean, they camouflage in perfectly. And the brown anoles, they love it more so on the grounds. So you'll be finding them more so on decaying plant matter as well as trees, logs, anything like that. You're gonna be finding them lower to the ground, which is exactly what we found this guy in. So he's all throughout in this leaf debris right here. He's super hard to get to. And if I go after him, I mean, he's gonna run just like that. But like I said, you can find these guys literally anywhere. You can find them literally on the sides of houses. You can find them on fences, anywhere. I mean, these guys love to just travel around. I was really lucky to find a male anole. I'm gonna show you footage of that guy right here. And what he actually did is he flared his neck, and they do that commonly as a territorial as well as to attract a mate. This was probably more as a territorial sign of things. Basically what they do is they flare out a high contrast of red and oranges on their neck, which is really, really cool to see. Now baby anoles, they come out super small, but they grow out to be actually 5 to 8 inches in length. Now they are still slender as adults, which makes them super hard to find and super hard to catch as well too, because they are very agile. And it makes it very difficult for predators to actually get a hold of these guys. But yeah, there you go, the brown and the green anole. So we probably won't see a green anole here. They're super hard to find, but I'm really lucky and really thankful that we caught a brown anole on camera. That's really awesome. So I'm standing super, super still right now because I don't want to scare this guy. He's right in front of me right here. He's super tiny. I have some close-up footage of him. And we are up in the rainforest of Manoa right now, and it just did a little bit of a rainstorm up here. It rains off and on up here a little bit. But regardless, these guys right here are Dendrobates auratus. And there is over 180 species of these guys, but these guys are the metallic greens and blacks right here. And these are incredible, and they are in abundance up here, that's for sure. I know I said we're going to be looking for different reptile species. We are actually going to be stopping here at the amphibian side of things because poison dart frogs are really, really cool. So these guys are actually native to Central America, but why they're in Hawaii is they actually came here in the 1930s to actually help with the mosquito population out here. And their population has grown ever since up here. So you can actually find these guys still hanging out in the bromeliads that are actually up here as well too, that these guys actually live in and hide in and actually put their babies in too. They're tadpoles actually spawn in there as well. He just hopped away over here in the little corner right here. We'll leave him be. So another really interesting thing about the Hawaii population of these guys versus the Central American population of these guys is these guys actually have less toxicity to them. So these guys still are poison dart frogs, there is no doubt about that, but the toxicity levels in these guys versus the ones in Central America is a lot less because of their diet out here. So their diet out here would mainly consist of smaller insects that are like the mosquitoes and the flies. So though these guys still are poison dart frogs, these guys aren't as toxic as their counterparts in Central America, which is pretty cool. But we're gonna let this little guy be and we're gonna move on and see what else we can find. So last night we had a really cool discovery, and I'm honestly shocked that we found this little guy. So we found a mourning gecko, and these guys are super small little geckos, and he was just chilling on the deck and patio before we were eating, and I just couldn't believe it. We found one of these guys, and they're actually really highly sought after on the mainland of the United States, and probably out throughout as well too, because the Hawaiian species of these guys actually have some really high contrasting colors, like this guy was displaying here, and I'm going to show you some footage of him. Really incredible looking animal. I mean, the stripes all throughout the head to the tail of this guy were just incredible. So he was definitely fired up, and that's the perfect time to find species like these kind of geckos, because normally in the dark is when they normally fire up, and you actually see people now at reptile shows have those lifting lids that you can actually show the geckos firing up. Mourning geckos are actually a highly adaptable species. So these guys' native range is actually from Sri Lanka all the way eastward to tropical Asia, Mexico, and Central America as well too. So these guys can be found all throughout, and they have a population here in Hawaii as well too now. So adult mourning geckos, not like this guy. This one seems to be more of a juvenile size, range to be about 4 inches in length. It's really interesting with most locals here. A lot of locals actually get freaked out when they see lizards and geckos and different kinds of species of reptiles here, because they think that everything is out to get them, where that isn't the case whatsoever. Like you see here, this guy just wants to run away from me. So that's exactly what he did, was he fleed away from me. But the locals actually think that these guys are going to jump on them and actually attack them and bite them and go after them, which is never the case whatsoever. There's no documentation of that happening, that these guys are actually jumping on people and going after them. That's not the case whatsoever. But yeah, I thought that was a really cool find last night. I'm so happy we found one of those guys, and we're just going to keep on our adventures and see what else we can find. Turtle Beach, which actually fits its name perfectly, because we just literally walked in here and we saw all these green sea turtles just thriving all throughout here. I have never seen green sea turtles in the wild, so this is a really special moment for me. And they are probably going to be seen all throughout here while we were filming this little clip on them. Normally they do come out to bask on the shore, and this is one of 3 locations actually where they actually do that. Turtle Beach, Hawaii being one of them, the other places being Australia, as well as the Galapagos Islands being the other 2. So it's really cool to see not only just one of them, but a whole bunch of them. Like I said, I saw 5 or 6 of them just swimming out throughout here. So really cool to see these guys swimming around, basking, anything like that. Now only the female green sea turtles actually come out to bask. The males actually stay in the water their entire life. Now the green sea turtle is actually listed as an endangered species, and there's a few reasons for that actually. The first reason being that there's fishing bycatch, and what fishing bycatch actually means is when the fishermen put their ropes down and everything like that to catch the fish, that is actually getting caught up in the turtles. The turtles will go into the ropes and they will actually get stuck and they will essentially drown. So it is a terrible, horrible thing, but it is the #1 reason that these guys are getting killed. The other reasons being climate change, pollution, the harvesting of these guys' eggs, and the degradation of their hatching sites as well too. These guys actually come home to go and lay their eggs when they come for breeding season and everything like that. So they don't go to a new location, they always are birthed and then they go out into the water, and then when they're raised up and they come back from breeding size, that's when they come back, and then they essentially will come back to lay their eggs. Now when you think of Hawaii, one of the things you may think of are green sea turtles, and that can also make them a really popular tourist attraction, which is why Turtle Beach is a really popular spot. As you can see here, a lot of people are looking and admiring from afar these turtles, and it's just a nice mutual respect that people are having at this beach today. And that's really important, because if you're not doing that and if you're disrespecting them and you're disrespecting their breeding grounds, it's causing more problems for these guys in terms of their survival. So it's always important, no matter where you go, to respect the wildlife that you have and preserve it as best you can when you come and visit a certain area. These guys, I'm really far away from these guys right now. They're not out basking, and I've just been seeing them floating around here on the shoreline and by the coves and everything like that, which has been perfect. So we've been kind of in a neutral area where we're not getting too close to one another, but it's just really cool to see these guys in general, whether you're close enough within the 10 feet range or you're really far away. You're seeing their heads bobbing up and down and their fins flailing and stuff like that. It's just super, super cool, and they are really, really fast as well. And that's why I love these guys so much. I actually have a green sea turtle on my arm right here to admire them and commemorate them as an endangered species on my endangered species list. Now out here as well too, they also do call these guys the Hawaiian green sea turtle, but they're also called the Hawaiian Honu as well too. So Hawaiian Honu is a really cool term in Hawaiian for a green sea turtle. So when adult female sea turtles come out to lay their eggs, they lay hundreds and hundreds of eggs. And those eggs, when they hatch, they come out to be 2-inch small babies. And if you haven't seen a baby green sea turtle before, they come out super small, super cute, and you just see them flailing around and everything like that as they get to the ocean, which is adorable. If you haven't seen it, definitely look that up. It's adorable. But because they are that small, they are super vulnerable to predators and the elements of the ocean, and even on land. When they're babies, I mean, they're just easy meals and easy targets. Same with the ocean. Anything in the ocean can grab them. The elements can get to them as well too. So because it's a really hard life for a baby sea turtle, only 10% of them actually make it to adulthood, which is crazy. You have hundreds and hundreds of eggs and only 10% of them make it. And that's just because of all those reasons. It's a really tough life for a baby sea turtle. And not only is it 10% of the babies that make it to adulthood, it takes a really long time to actually be an adult, mature green sea turtle to breed. So from coming out of the egg of 2-inch baby sea turtle, these guys grow up to be 5 foot in length as adults and weigh up to 700 pounds, which is incredible. We've seen some really big ones here today that are full-grown adults, and boy, from the size of those guys, they look heavy. But really, it's really cool to see them in the water, because you see them on these coves resting, and then they shoot out into the water into the ocean, and it's just incredible the speeds that these guys can get up to with that kind of weight on these guys. It's incredible. It's just like seeing the humpbacks that I saw last year. I couldn't believe how fast those guys were in the ocean. But yeah, this has been absolutely incredible coming over here and finally seeing green sea turtles in the wild. Can you believe it? I can't believe that we've actually seen these guys. But man, I'm gonna sit here a little bit longer and admire these guys, maybe jump in the water a little bit too. Guys, the water isn't too bad over here, but I am really excited to be here, and seeing all these different reptiles throughout this trip has been absolutely rewarding and incredible, and just really nice weather overall too. So I'm gonna soak it up and see what else we can find and enjoy the day. Oh my gosh, guys, I have had an absolute blast in Honolulu, Hawaii. I mean, this has been incredible. Like I said, I've never been to Costa Rica, but this has been pretty darn close to it. I mean, the tropics here, the island, the animals, the people, I mean, everything here, the culture, it's just something that you can truly get immersed in, and I've truly fallen in love here. It's a really great place. I truly appreciate you guys adventuring with me. Let me know down in the comments if you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys have been to Hawaii or want to go to Hawaii. Let me know also down in the comments if you have suggestions of where else I should go. I love to travel, and I would love to go to some other places and share those adventures also with you guys. It's really a blast to travel, and it's really something I'm truly thankful to be able to do and be in the position to do. I really want to make it a point where I'm taking you along on my adventures and really making you feel like you're here and doing some educational things along the the way and checking out some really cool animals. So thank you guys again. You guys mean the world to me. I appreciate all of you. So I have a plane to catch, so without further ado, if you guys could do me a couple favors, if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it, as well as hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Definitely check me out on my social media as well too, because throughout this adventure I've been posting a whole bunch there, and you guys don't want to miss it, especially when I post my next adventures too, because we have a lot of cool content on the way. It's starting to rain here. I'm going to close this video out. Thank you guys again for watching, and until next time, we will see you guys soon. Aloha!